This is Popular Front, a podcast focused on the niche details of modern warfare and underreported conflict with me, Jake Hanrahan. Today we're speaking to documentary filmmaker Lionel Dumas. He is born and raised in Corsica. He still lives there. And he's going to be talking to us about the return of the Corsican separatist militant group, the FLNC. It's a group you might not have heard about, but they were very active in the 90s, blowing up buildings. They executed a French mayor, and now they've kind of stepped in and said, yeah, we're still here due to current situations in Corsica. The FLNC wants independence for Corsica, taking themselves away from the rule of France. Support us at patreon.com/popularfront. For those that don't know, because, generally this is more of an obscure kind of group outside of Europe. For those that don't know, just explain for us first, if you can, a kind of brief history of the FLNC and, the reason that there's tension between Corsica and France.
Okay, so first of all, if we go back a little bit in history, so Corsica is an island. It's in the Mediterranean. It used to belong to not Italy, because at the time it was the Republic of Genoa. Italy was many different republics and things. So we used to belong to people coming over and invade the island. So for a bit, like I think it was 500 years, we belonged to, a lot of time we belonged to Genoa. We kicked them out at some point. So we took our independence, and Genoa wanted to have some help from the French to pacify the island and to get it back. So they kind of sold the island to France, like, okay, we have too much trouble with those guys. So take the island, do something about it, and maybe we get it back, So that's how we became French in 1769. Basically, we lost the war against the French, came here to pacify, and we didn't want to pacify, no. So that's how we are French for like 250 years, something. The thing is, in the 70s, now in the 1970s, we started to, there was this thing, there was this thing in the 60s in Algeria and in many countries where people were starting to fight back against France colonialism. Mm-hmm. So there was this thing, and it happened here as well. Some people were like, hey, we cannot speak Corsican. We are not allowed to speak Corsican anymore. The economy is really bad. We have to go on the mainland to go to France to have good jobs. Something's wrong. And some people thought it was time to start a struggle. And the first big thing is actually an ecological action, because one of the starting point of the FLNC is actually in the 70s. There was this big group, an Italian group, who was rejecting pollution on the island. Like they were throwing the pollution in the sea, and was coming to the shores of Corsica.
From France, you mean?
No, it was from Italy, actually.
Oh, okay, from Italy, sorry.
A major Italian company. Mm-hmm. But the Corsican, we asked the French authorities, like, come on, do something about it. Those guys are sending all the pollution to us, and the French state didn't do anything. So at some point, people were like, okay, we'll do something about it. And they went and blew the company. It was in Italy, though, but it was the first way to say, if the state doesn't want to help us out, we will do it, Mm. And then it happened with many things in France, and bombings of houses in Corsica, but that's something different. So that's how it started.
Right. So that was with Italy, right? But then things obviously got a lot more heated with France.
Yeah. Well, this thing with Italy was just with a big company. It's not like it's Italian or not. It's just it was the Monte di Son. I don't know. Well, I think I'm just checking it. Monte di Son. Yeah, it was a company, but it was, it was just a way, like we understood at this point that we couldn't have any, like France didn't really care about this island.
Right, got you. And then the FLNC basically became, I was reading, I'm very interested in this group. They became one of, the most well kind of organized militant groups in Europe. I think at one point they were actually carrying out more attacks than even the Provisional IRA, which, obviously the Provisional IRA were a very big, well-organized militant group. How did it get to such a level where, the FLNC managed to kind of have this much, operational means?
Yeah, well, the thing, I think it was, at the time, was easy to make bombs with, we call them agricultural bombings, like things you do with, how do you call it? Like, well, products you can have for agriculture. So
like fertilizer and stuff.
Yeah, this kind of thing. So that was easy to I mean, bombs were probably easy to do. But the thing, the main thing, difference between the IRA and the FLNC is that FLNC, almost never killed anyone. The point was to blow places, but always when they were empty, and there was never this thing of we should kill people. It was a big thing, and that was maybe very. People started to grow, and how do you say that was people liked it a bit more. Was appreciated by the people because it wasn't too much. It wasn't really about killing people. It was blowing houses that shouldn't be there in the first time. So that's how we become a bit, popular on the island.
So what do you mean houses shouldn't be there? Do you mean like kind of French developers trying to move in there and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, it was like big residencies or things by the seas or, big complex, or sometimes it was just buildings that were representative of the state, of the French state. But yeah, it was always, okay, we didn't want, basically, as we Corsican, I've never been part of this. I'm too young anyway. But we Corsican didn't want Corsica to look like the Balearic Island,
Right, you don't want to be the next Ibiza.
Exactly.
So maybe just give us an idea of what the FLNC actually believed in. What was their ideology? What were they kind of trying to achieve?
When it started, I think many groups, it was a very social thing. Basically, the FLNC wanted to the recognition of the national right of the Corsican people, like saying, okay, we are not just a part of France. We're not a part of France at all if you look at the map, So the main thing was recognize Corsica as an island and as a different nation.
As a sovereign state, basically.
Yeah, different language, different history. Basically what happened in Corsica was, like in many other countries, there was colonialism,
Mm-hmm.
So that was the main demands. Like I said, it was complicated for people to have jobs here. They had to go on the mainland, and in the meantime, there were people from mainland who came here with the good jobs in the administration. Basically, was taking back control of the island, and
Yeah, of course. So you got the situation where basically, Corsicans are treated as second-class citizens on their own land. Age-old story of colonialist rule. In this case, it's France. And then the FLNC forms. What was the reception like? Obviously, they started blowing up holiday homes. Like you said, they kind of started blowing up, and I think French banks as well on the island. How did the people of Corsica, the civilians, how did they receive the FLNC? Were they liked? What was the deal?
Back in the 70s, it was a very... it was not many people. Even though you said it was big, it was a big organization. For a lot of people, a lot of Corsican people didn't understand where the problem was. Even now, if you think about it, all the people are like okay, we are French. We don't see what the problem is. It's like France bring us jobs. France bring us wealth, comfort. It's changing now in the 2020s. Like if you look at the last election, the nationalists altogether was 70% of the population. But back in the days, it was still small, and a lot of people were looking at it like they didn't really understand, or they weren't really supportive. But in the meantime, now when they look at it, when they look back at it, they're like, okay, maybe that was a good thing because that's how we didn't end it like Ibiza. But yeah, back in the day, it wasn't that easy for the FLNC.
Right. And things got quite heated, right? Because I think they assassinated like a French mayor of one of the islands, right? I was reading that is when things kind of, the French authorities started really taking attention of this group.
So, well, yeah, basically, just to make a quick story. So in the 70s, it was the FLNC started. In the 80s, they were doing the activity was, keep bombings and kind of things. But then at some point, like many groups, some of them were received in Paris to discuss things with the authorities. Some people were against it. And like in many struggles, I think the groups split at some point. And then came two parts of the FLNC fighting each other for. Some people were saying, "Oh, this part they are taking money from the state and they keep it for them." Then some of us were like, "Oh, there was a a truth when you don't blow things."
A truce.
A truce. There's a truth, and those guys they don't respect it. So at some point until the 90s, the 90s were really bad because in the end the people from the FLNC were shooting at each other, and some people had some one brother was in one side, the other brother was on the other side, and some of them killed each other at some point. It was really bad in the 90s. So in the 90s, the FLNC had a really, really bad reputation, and people were really angry about it because in the meantime there was some of those people took the money. It's at some, and in the meantime, the mafia on the island was left alone by the authorities because they were focusing on the FLNC and the separatists and not on the mafia. So it was pretty bad in the 90s. And there are those people who thought like, okay, we need to do something to put people back together. So a couple of people decided to shoot and to kill the higher representative of the state on the island, the prefet. It's called like the governor or something like this. And that happened in 98. And it was really, really not appreciated by the whole of the island. There was a big demonstration on the street. People thought, okay, this is too much.
So the people basically ended up turning against the FLNC at this point.
Yeah, at this point it was instead of the violence, they were like, okay, stop this. This is too much. So it didn't have the effects expected,
Got you. At some point, the FLNC kind of, stopped down their arms, put their weapons down for a bit. I know there was various different factions. I think FLNC October 22nd, and then all these other factions. But generally, things went kind of quiet. Recently, in the last kind of 2 years, there's been videos, the FLNC is back. We've been speaking and, quite rightly, you've kind of said often, this isn't a big deal. This is just flexing. But now there's this recent video. There's a lot of them. They're armed. They're saying, right, we're back. We might have to take up arms again. And this is all due to the recent elections in Corsica. So maybe you can just explain that. What has happened in Corsica that has made the kind of FLNC come back, if you like?
So yeah, we need to look back a little bit further. The thing is, so in the year 2000s, people are looking really bad at the FLNC and everything. But in the meantime, the nationalism as a moderated nationalism, as a political expression started to grow. And since 2010, I'd say, the moderated nationalists started to win some elections, not to win, but to get bigger at the elections, and that's mainly because of one guy, which is Gilles Simeoni, is the son of Edmond Simeoni, one of the father of the modern nationalism. Is really moderated, is a really charismatic figure, and I mean, he's a peaceful guy, and I think this guy kind of it gave a nice face to modern and Corsican nationalism. So it grows in the election and everything, and younger people started to think, okay, our parents they didn't want nationalism at all, and we start to think, my generation, like, everything was not right under the French rules, so nationalism is getting bigger. That takes us to there was the territorial election, which are our most important election, because that's where we have our little government of Corsica. In 2015, there was this big election where the nationalists, the moderated plus the independentist one, came together, and they won the election for the first time. And they won ever since, like in 2017 and lately. And this year there was the elections again, and it's the moderated nationalists that won the thing. Just before that, in 2014, the FLNC say, okay, we dropped the weapon because it was a big deal on the island. People were a bit scared of voting for the nationalists because the FLNC was around.
They're worried about the links to them.
Yes.
Right.
Because the independentist party was clearly linked with them.
Mm-hmm.
That was very clear. I mean, it's not something hidden or something. So when in 2014 they say, okay, we drop the weapon. For now, we drop the weapon. People were more like, okay, well, then I can vote nationalist, and that's what happened. That's why one of the biggest reasons why the people started to vote for nationalists again. The thing is, like you said, in the meantime, there were some groups that happened in the news, but like 4 or 5 people coming out of nowhere, just signing FLNC the letters. That was no big deal. It was just people, like you and me can say like, hey, I want to start a new FLNC. So it wasn't serious. But the thing is, the independentist party, with the last election that happened in 2021, like this 6 months ago, not even 6 months ago, they were kind of left alone by the moderated nationalists. So I think that's why there's this big thing coming back, because with moderated nationalism, we Corsican take the bet, like, okay, we stop violence. Now we can talk with the state, because the state used to say, we don't talk with people, put bombs, so go the democratic way and then we talk. That's what we did. We Corsicans. And it's been like since like 6 years now, and nothing moved on. So people start to think like, okay, we had more things. We won more things while we were putting bombs than now with the democratic way. So why should we keep the democratic way?
So in what way has France not honoured these local Corsican elections where the nationalists have won?
Well, it's like they just don't care about the demands. The demands are like, we want more autonomy for the island. It's not about even independence, of course. It's just we want more autonomy. We want to deal the things on the island. So they want some special treatment to say like, okay, we can autonomy treatment. there's the big revendication about the Corsican language that we can make it official as well in Corsica.
So sorry, I didn't know that. So it's Corse, right? The language.
Yeah, cool.
So that's not even an official language on Corsica.
No, it's not official. You can have it. You can learn it at school. You can speak it at school. But it's one of the big, in my opinion. But that's very personal. I'm not sure that having it official is a perfect thing, because like when you see in Ireland, the Irish language is official, but it didn't save it anyway.
Yeah, but I think even having the choice in your own land, I think it's important.
Yeah, but I think there's something more, but that's very personal. It's just, I think
symbolic, I guess.
Representation. But that's one of the demands. There's also, like, for example, that's something more political. They want to free the people that are in jail for Corsican affairs. Political prisoners, we're just like asking, hey, can you just? It's not even about releasing them. It's about like, can they be incarcerated on the island and not on the mainland, far away from the family? So that's some of the things asked, and the state is like, yeah, well, we don't care, that's not you're just local. It was just local election. People didn't vote for that. But that's exactly what they did,
Yeah, no. So basically, France is kind of ignoring a democratic decision by the majority of the locals in Corsica. Now we've seen this video where there's 30, 40, maybe more members of FLNC. They're all armed. They're all in masks. There's a table FLNC, and they're reading out these demands. What were they saying exactly in that video?
So that's the thing. I think, in my opinion, it's a way to say, like, okay, look, we are still here, and we are still here.
A warning.
There are a warning, but it's also a warning to the local authorities of Corsica, the moderate nationalists, where they say, look, maybe democratic way is not the only way, and I think this is again my personal opinion, but I think that just because they were a little bit, it's more like because they weren't part of the coalition that won the elections. I think some people are like, hey, you need to rely on us as well. We are still here. So it's a double message, I say, to the state, to the French state, and also to the Corsican president of the region, Gilles Simeone. So I think it's a way to put some pressure on both sides.
And you think this one's more serious, right? Like from when we spoke before, I agree. Like you were saying, it's like it wasn't really much, but this one seems like it's actually serious now, right? Like the FLNC are genuinely back.
Yeah, well, it's the real guys, and they don't say we are back. They're like, okay, we are still here somewhere. We didn't disappear. That's what they say, and it's a way to put some pressure on them. But it's a real guy thing. It's not some group from nowhere.
How can you tell? Like, how do you know? Like, these are the real deal.
Well, I don't know. It's from just from the media and from the word of mouth.
Right, people just know like they're the guys.
Yeah.
And how old are these guys? Like, because obviously the FLNC, it started in the 70s. Now it's 2021. Are these like new recruits, younger men, or are these like old guys like dressing up and pulling their rifles out?
Well, some of them are definitely old guys.
Yeah.
But still, I think they have no. It's not difficult to have people to join, especially for the pictures. If you want, I wouldn't say like those are so many. All those many people. Not all of them are maybe active member of the FLNC. As it's sleepy. It's sleeping now, so it's not active members. But then you can have a lot of people to say like, look, we can have those people if needed. It's a way of demonstrating force. Yeah.
You got the reserves. I guess what I'm asking is like, if say, I don't know, the FLNC did start bombing again, and there was some kind of, urban war again between France and the FLNC, do you think there would be plenty of youth, young men on the island that would say, yeah, okay, we're going to join? Like, is there a thirst for it, would you say?
That's the thing. That's the big thing. Moderated nationalists try to keep the young people from away from this,
away from violence.
Saying, look, this is not the way. This is not the way. But in the meantime, the young people, they start to understand that you reach more things with bombs than you did with democratic way. So that's the main issue. That's what everybody's afraid. Nobody wants to. I mean, even the people who put bombs, nobody wants to put bombs anymore. Nobody wants to go to jail again. Nobody wants to. I mean, destroy families, in the end, because people are incarcerated for 10 years or something. So nobody wants that. But if the state refused to discuss, maybe that's what might. I mean, if you tell someone, don't do this because if you use this way, I won't talk with you. And once you don't use this thing again, you don't talk anyway. You don't keep your promises. And
right. There's a famous saying I always think of in times like this, where it's like, if you don't hear, you'll feel. You know what I mean? And it's like they've gone the democratic route. They've tried, they've stopped the bombings, they've put the guns away, and now France are still like, yeah, we don't care. I'm not saying, oh yeah, you need violence, but it's like, it's understandable why people would go, hang on, they're not listening. Like, we'll make them listen. You know what I mean? I can just see it unraveling.
Exactly. So, well, like I said, nobody wants to see the violence again. And just listen to us. We put the vote in the ballot box. So, just listen.
Yeah. When this video came out with this, the real guys, the FLNC, they're saying like, we're still here. What was the kind of, the talk on the island? What were people talking about it? Were they like, whoa, shit? Or I don't know, was it just kind of more of the same?
No, I think people saw it coming because, like I say, if you analyze the last election, you can understand that some people were disappointed, of not being part of it. So that it makes sense. It makes sense. And in the meantime, I think it's just sending a message. It's not a threat. It's not, like you say, maybe just a warning and just like, okay, we're here again. You need to think to know that we are still here.
Yeah, I imagine. I think the French state probably received it in a different way, though. Like you got all these guys in balaclavas with rifles, and they're like, "Yeah, like we're still here." I bet. I don't think the French state were like, "Oh, it's just a threat." Did like Macron? Did the government like comment on it at all? Did they have any response?
I don't think I saw anything like that. I don't think so.
That's interesting. A few years ago, I used to talk to, there was like a young kind of, it was kind of like a leftist Corsican separatist group, called GI. You remember them guys? Like what happened to them?
Oh, the GI, the Juventud Independentista is it's how do you call it? It means, independentist youth in Corsica. It's a group that were, it's a student union, At the University of Corsica, there are 2 or 3 groups of student unions. So it's student, basically. They were very active at the university and organizing events and involved in politics. Some of them became elected at elections. Not the last one, but the one before that. I haven't heard about them this year. I don't know with the university being closed with the pandemics and stuff. But yeah, it's actually the GI. It's funny because for the last 30 years or 20 years at least, people that went in the GI group ended up politicians.
Yeah, I know a few of them went to jail as well. There was like some kind of protests and they ended up in jail in France. You know what I mean? I know even some of them, they were like, we can't even get our guys back on our island,
There's actually one of them, he spent I think he went to jail from like 18 to 24. He spent his 20th in jail. You know, he's out now and he's involved in politics. Like I think after him, people didn't want to see Yoff in prison again. You know.
Well, why was he jailed?
He was jailed for some. How do you say, when you run a car in a portal at the building of the state authority in Corte. So it was, if you think about it, it just spent 6 or 8 years, I think it was, in prison for destroying a portal. You know?
Yeah, that's a lot of years. You know, like some people don't even do that for murder.
Yeah.
All right, so they're still active. All right, mate. Thank you very much. That's really interesting. Is there anything else you want people to know about the situation in Corsica before we go?
The election has been important because for the first time there were 40% of the people who voted for the moderated nationalists, plus 30 other people who voted for nationalist list. So in the end, it was almost 70% of people who voted for nationalist list. And that's important. That's something. That means that the Corsican population wants more to take care of. We want to take care of ourselves. You know, that's something. Then we need to see where it goes. Just to say, my analysis and all that is just, you know, I'm a local guy from here, from Corsica. I'm not. I haven't been part of this, but I just following the situation from the inside, you know.
Yeah, man, definitely. You've always been very helpful to me when I'm trying to learn about this thing. I find it really, really interesting. Good luck out there, man, and you know, I hope things continue democratically.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah, man. Right, thanks very much, Lionel.
Bye.
Cheers, bro. Bye-bye. That was documentary filmmaker Lionel Dumas speaking about the re-emergence of the separatist Corsican militant group, the FLNC, the National Liberation Front of Corsica. A very, very interesting group, one that I have been, for some reason, obsessed with for about 6 or 7 years now. It's a bit of a mission of mine to one day make a proper documentary about the FLNC. So, you know, if anyone's out there, give me a shout. Hanrahan at protonmail.com. HANRAHAN at proton, PROTON, mail, MAIL.com. Give me a shout. If you like what we're doing here at Popular Front, please do consider supporting us at patreon.com/Popular Front. You get loads of extras, bonus episodes, access to the community Discord. There is a whole series there basically instructing people on how to be a reporter without having to go to J school. All sorts of stuff there for you. Narrated articles, discounts on merchandise. Check it out. Patreon.com/Popular Front. If you want our merch, go to popularfront.shop. That's the URL, www.popularfront.shop. You can get all sorts of t-shirts, jumpers, there's a coat there, all sorts there, Popular Front, merchandise, clothing, and also the next issue of the Popular Front magazine is ready now for pre-order. You got about a week left to pre-order it by the time you hear this. So yeah, go and get that if you want it, popularfront.shop. This episode was sponsored by Oracle Coffee Shop in Portland, Oregon, USA. They're an independent coffee shop business selling only fair trade products. See them at 3875 South West Bond Avenue, 97239. The episode was also sponsored by Propagandopolis, an outlet selling and writing about historical conflict propaganda from around the world. Buy prints at propagandopolis.com. Use a promo code POPULARFRONT10 for 10% off when ordering it. Also, check out the range of Popular Front posters we got up there, prints, whatever you want to call them, propagandopolis.com. Check them out. Social media, check us out, Instagram at popular.front, the Twitter now is new. It was at Popular Front CO, but all you find there is a redirect to our new Twitter, which is at Popular Front _. I just changed the handle because Popular Front CO, it just looked messy. I wanted to get at Popular Front. It was an account on Twitter. Someone used it. They got banned. It's been banned for years. I asked someone at Twitter to release it for us so we could use it because that is something they can do. I know people they've done it for, but they didn't get back to me. So whatever. So it's at Popular Front _. That is the new Twitter. Twitter.com/Popular Front _. If you want to follow me, it's at Jake_Hanrahan, HANRAHAN. My website, jakehanrahan.com. You can go and look at my portfolio, all my past work. I've done solid 5 or 6 years, reporting for various different companies in the field all around the world, before we started Popular Front. So yeah, check that out. Check out the website, popularfront.co. You'll find everything there. And again, if you want to support us, please go to patreon.com/popularfront. You'll see loads of extras there. As I mentioned, at least 2 bonus episodes a month. I think we've done that every single month this year. There's a big backlog of bonus content, bonus episodes for everyone. I think there's like nearly 100 bonus episodes now. Anyway, thank you very much to the high tier Patreons. They are Elise Middlefart, Jess Lewis, David McManus, Joaquim Williamson Holt, Yidoye Travis, Tom Petrie, James Lyons, Kate, Lisa Milgram, Bradley Davies, Brendan Crave, Pete Hesher, RX, A. Nicole, Travis Lieberman, Cherry, Ben Marshall, Dallas Dunn, LD50 Seattle, MJ, K Glitter Vulcan, Meredith Waters, Bethany Swoveland, Adam H, Larson 8669, Carante, Bjorn Kirsten, Diamond Steen, Michael O'Connor, Zach Packard, Todd Cravens, Nicholas Butter, Ron Swanson. Shout out to Ron Swanson, man. He's a very fucking good guy, very helpful guy. Ron Swanson, JD, Jav, Ian Froese, James Cully, Tynan Daly, Ethan, Fitzmadrid, Ed Coulthard, Mike Barone, Ben, Liam Williams, Chris Cusimano, Degenerate Zero Alpha, Giorgio Arani, DR, Trey Nance, Amy R, Rubicon, Frank Austin, Amelia Me, Nawaiz, Nate Van Dor, Christina Rivetti, Freya Northman, Ali Hunter, Moody Al Rashid, Bill Wilson, Andrew Hurley, Vida Provost, Andrew McLaughlin, Tom Lochrin, Young Wasabi, Tony Bin, Adam Bergsnyder, J.L., Stephen Davila, Anthony Kabarak, Dan Dunham, Fletcher, Chad Walker, Diana Gorvanek, Lawrence Abrahams, Peter McCormick from What Bitcoin Did, Axel Iverson, Christopher Martin, Ryan Sandercock, and Moritz Zumbul. Man, I remember when there was like 4 or 5 people to read out at the end, man. There's so many now. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. This thing would fall on its ass without you lot, so definitely appreciate that. Thank you very much. Patreon.com/popularfront. Check us out. Music in this episode, the intro was by Home, and the outro, as always, was by Sam Black. Check his music out at samblackpf.com.